Center for the Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on polymers. This is the first lesson in our 6th unit. In this unit, we will study synthetic and natural polymers, as well as the process of polymerization. Throughout this unit, we will be drawing on physical and chemical principles that we have already learned. In today's lesson, we are going to define the terms monomer and polymer. We will classify different polymers as either synthetic or natural, and we will give examples of both. Let us get started. We will begin with a question, students. Do you know what a polymer is? Please take a moment to write down a definition in your own words.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back. Were you able to think of a definition of a polymer? You are likely more familiar with them than you realize. The term polymer encompasses a large class of different materials which have a wide variety of properties. Because of this, polymers play an essential role in everyday life. You interact with polymers every day, probably without even noticing it. Polymers range from plastics and elastomers to amber and rubber to biopolymers like the nucleic acids that make up our DNA. Polymers are classified as macromolecules or large molecules, which are made from smaller repeating units called monomers. Therefore, monomers are the building blocks of polymers. A polymer might be made from identical monomers or different types of monomers. Most commonly, the polymers that are used for plastics are linked together by a chain composed mainly of carbon atoms. This is sometimes referred to as a backbone. A simple example of a carbon backbone is polyethylene, which we will study later in the unit. However, other structures do exist. For instance, silicon is the backbone element for familiar materials like silicones, putty, and plumbing sealant. Another example is oxygen, which is the backbone of our very own DNA. Polymers can be divided into many different classifications. One way of distinguishing between polymers is whether it is made of different types of monomers. Homopolymers are made from only one type of monomer. For example, polyethylene is synthesized by the polymerization of one type of monomer called ethene or ethylene. Copolymers are prepared by polymerizing more than one kind of monomer unit. For instance, ethene and propene are copolymerized to produce a polymer that has two kinds of repeating units. Students, do you think that you could name some different examples of polymers? Take a few minutes to list as many examples as you can.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. What polymers were you able to name? Some examples include cellulose, rubber, nylon, and starch. Even spider webs are polymers. If your answer was similar to these, great job. Compare your list with those of your classmates after the lesson. It will be interesting to compare what examples you were able to name. A polymer can be called either random or regular, depending on its arrangement of monomers. Random polymers contain repeating units which are arranged in a random fashion. Regular polymers contain a regular sequence of monomers that repeats over and over again. Polymers can also be classified as natural or synthetic. Natural polymers, as the name implies, are naturally occurring. Some examples of natural polymers are wood, paper, rubber, starch, cellulose, chitin, and glucose. Synthetic polymers are man-made. Most synthetic polymers are organic compounds. Some examples of synthetic polymers are silicone, bakelite, nylon, mylar, Teflon, Kevlar, and PVC. Even hair gel is made of synthetic polymers. As you can see, polymers are extremely versatile and useful substances. It is time for a review, everyone. Let us see what we have learned from today's lesson. Here is a list of the terms that we have learned today. Please define each of these terms as they are essential to what we will learn in this unit. Do your best, and I will see you in a few minutes.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello once more, students. I am confident that you had no trouble with this review exercise. Let us look at the correct answers together. A monomer is a small unit that helps to build a polymer. A polymer is a large, versatile molecule that is made up of monomers. A homopolymer is a polymer made from only one kind of monomer. A copolymer is a polymer made from different types of monomers. A natural polymer is found in nature. A synthetic polymer is man-made and has been synthesized by humans. Were you able to define all of the different terms correctly? Great job, students. In today's lesson, we have learned that polymers are macromolecules that comprise very useful materials. They are made of monomers. Some polymers are made of one kind of monomer, and some are made of many. They exist in both natural and synthetic varieties. We will be learning more about this throughout the upcoming unit. Teacher, please lead the class in a discussion about the various types and uses of polymers. I am sure you will find this subject very interesting. That brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Until next time, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.